If I knew what would happen next, I'd quit my job before I got hired. I had always been a night owl, but nothing could prepare me for the horrors that unfolded during one fateful night shift at the morgue. It had been a grueling week. Working double shifts due to staff shortages and fatigue had begun to weigh me down like an anchor, casting eerie shadows over my usually rational mind. As I entered the morgue that night, the cold air and the faint hum of the fluorescent lights greeted me. The sterile smell of disinfectants filled the room, a scent that had become all too familiar. My heart raced as I made my way toward the stainless steel table where the body lay awaiting preparation for incineration. As I approached the lifeless form, I couldn't help but feel an unusual sense of dread. The dimly lit room seemed to conspire with my exhaustion, casting menacing shadows across the room. I tried to dismiss it as a product of overwork, but something was off. As I started the preparations, I saw the body move. It was a subtle twitch, almost imperceptible, but it sent chills down my spine. I blinked, thinking it was just my tired eyes playing tricks on me. But when it happened again, I knew I couldn't ignore it. Desperate to maintain my composure, I continued my work. But the room itself seemed to be against me that night. Each time I closed one of the cold steel drawers housing the deceased, it would mysteriously creak open again, as if the souls within were trying to escape their icy confines. The radio on the counter, silent until then, burst to life with eerie, discordant music that sent shivers down my spine. I was certain I was alone in the hospital, and this unexpected intrusion into the silence sent a wave of terror through me. I decided to take a break, making my way to the small bathroom adjoining the morgue. I splashed my face with water, hoping it would clear my mind and banish these irrational fears. But as I gazed into the mirror, the fluorescent lights above began to flicker, and the room's atmosphere shifted. A chilling red glow enveloped everything, casting grotesque, elongated shadows on the ceiling. I watched in terror as these shadows seemed to dance, taking on nightmarish forms, twisted and inhuman. My heart pounded as I left the bathroom, determined to complete my grim task and leave this nightmarish night behind me. I pushed the body into the crematorium, steeling myself for the ordeal. But as the door closed, a blood-curdling scream pierced the silence. It wasn't human, and I knew in my very core that it was something evil, something that didn't belong in this world. In a blind panic, I pushed the button to ignite the flames, desperate to be rid of the body and the nightmare that had become my reality. The screams grew louder, more agonizing, and filled with malice, echoing in the chamber as the flames roared to life. I fled the morgue, the anguished wails haunting my every step. As I ran, the hospital's corridors seemed to stretch into a labyrinth, and the doors kept closing behind me, always seeming just out of reach. It was as if the very building itself was conspiring against my escape. My breath grew ragged, my heart pounding in my chest, and the malevolent presence of the morgue's horrors pursued me relentlessly. In a final, desperate bid for escape, I found a service stairwell and climbed it in a frenzied hay. The red emergency lights cast an eerie, surreal glow, and the shadows seemed to reach out for me. It was a harrowing ascent, but somehow I emerged from the stairwell onto the ground floor, gasping for air. With trembling hands, I pushed through the heavy hospital doors, the night air a sweet relief after the horrors within. The screams from the morgue were distant echoes now, but they still lingered in my ears, a haunting reminder of that night. I never returned to work at the morgue after that night, unable to escape the vivid memories of that gruesome shift. It was a night that shattered my rationality and left me with a chilling understanding that there are things in this world far beyond our comprehension, lurking in the shadows, waiting to be discovered by the most unfortunate of souls.